Box office top 10 at 13, Dangerous Animals. Someone called The Spirit Returns via our YouTube channel. Entertaining twists, but Mark is right. It was horrible for the sake of it. And you may need a bridge to suspend your disbelief. They could easily have cut 20 minutes too. It also felt quite baggy. So you said that this is vicious, but you often like that kind of thing, but you thought it was a bit too nasty, I think.
Well, I mean, what I said, and I was trying to, it's very hard to kind of get the balance right when you're reviewing a film like this, but it is nasty. The reason I kept saying nasty is because it is really nasty. It's got a really cruel streak to it. And I do know at least one critic, a friend of mine, who kind of just disengaged from the film because of that cruel streak. On the other hand, I thought it was done well. I understand the bagginess thing, but I don't think it could lose that much. I just think it's what I was trying to do was to prepare any potential viewers from the fact that it's not just like, there is something very wholesome about Jaws. There is something very wholesome about Jaws because those characters, in the end, you get to know them and you get to love them, even Quint. In the case of this, wholesome is not what it is. It is. Okay. It's a cruel and there's a touch of torture porn about it.
That's number 13. Worth just mentioning, waving a flag for The Ballad of Wallace Island, which is at number 11. So given that, sorry about that, just bashed my desk. So is that a good performance, do you think? I mean, it's got talked about quite a bit, but it's not troubling the 10.
No, but I imagine it's playing in a limited number of cinemas. I don't have the cinema screens details in front of me. And also, it's a really, really low-budget film. And I suspect it's one of those things that will continue to play in cinemas for quite a while. There has been a huge amount of press about it, not least because Richard Curtis said this thing about it being this, the funniest film he'd seen in ages, and he absolutely loved it. Again, to refer back to the James King thing, every now and then, somebody praising a movie in just the right way is the thing that it needs to elevate its profile. I mean, it was never going to set the world on fire in terms of box office, but I think my suspicion is that it's playing in smaller cinemas, and that in those cinemas that it is playing, it is doing quite well. That's my suspicion.
Thug Life is at number 10.
Yeah, so this wasn't press screen. There's a number of movies currently playing that weren't press screen. This is an Indian Tamil language gangster action drama, which wasn't press screen. So if anyone's seen it, let me know.
9 is The Phoenician Scheme.
How much more Wes Anderson could it be? None more Wes Anderson. I, again, am aware that there are some people who really like this. Ben Bailey Smith thought it was really funny. I got annoyed with the title and then kind of went downhill from there. But there are some good performances in it. I suspect that it's one of those things. I mean, maybe I'll go back. Actually, no, I won't. I was going to say maybe I'll go back and watch it again and find it funnier, but I don't know. It's just so hermetically sealed in the Wes Anderson universe, and I found it impenetrable, but others have found it funny.
Number 8 is Clown in a Cornfield. Nigel Betts on our YouTube channel. No word of a lie. A local farmer where I live used a Ronald McDonald that used to stand outside one of their restaurants as a scarecrow, which is, I guess that would be pretty effective. Nick says, well, you did this to me and now I'm doing it back to you. From now on, you'll be infected by the earworm. There's a clown in my cornfield to the tune of Rat in My Kitchen by UB40. But
There's
actually,
a clown
when I
in
said,
cornfield, what am I going to do?
Exactly. But the other thing that Clown in a Cornfield made me think of is you've probably seen via YouTube John Mulvaney, the comedian who does that whole sequence about there's a horse in the hospital as an analogy for. Have you not seen it? Okay,
no, I haven't. No.
Okay, well, in the gap between take 1 and take 2, it's an absolutely mad 5 minutes of a comedian, John Mulvaney. I think it's John Mulvaney, and he does this whole routine about there's a horse in a hospital, and this is Trump 1, by the way. Never mind Trump 2.
Okay.
So that's your watching while you're making a cup of tea. Watch John Mulvaney. There's a horse in my hospital. But Corn in a Clownfield. No, Clown in a Cornfield. Or
Did I do that? Clownfield. I think I did that last week, didn't I? It's one of those titles that it's easy to get wrong. It's goofy fun. It makes it. There is a whole thing at the end of it in which they fudge what happens to one character. And I've now had 2 quite in-depth conversations with a friend of mine called Matthew and with the great Kim Newman, who is the arbiter on all things horror. And I said to him, Kim, what do you think happens to that character at the end? He said, I think what happened is they didn't have the actor for another day in order to do the shot that they needed to do. So when you see the thing, he said, you do see the thing happen, but it happens so incidentally that you don't notice it. So in a way, part of me kind of thinks, well, low budget movies made around the constraint of what availability they have, good for them. I mean, it's never scary, but it's very genial, very, very differently to Dangerous Animals. I mean, it's kind of goofy fun. It's a little bit, it's a little bit like one of those pastiche slasher movies that you used to get in the 90s, referring back to the 80s ones, and I quite enjoyed it.
Number 7 is Peppa meets the baby cinema experience.
Yes, so this isn't as we would think of it, conceptually a film. This is, and I'm just going to read you the press release because obviously I haven't seen the intro. It is 10 oinktastic new episodes, 6 brand new songs and music videos. Your little ones can dance and sing along with Peppa and her family and friend. And of course, as we've said before, if this is a way of getting young viewers into the cinema and used to the cinema experience, then more power to it.
Number 6, number 5 in Canada, Final Destination's Bloodlines.
Which I like the way you did that. You're going to get a job as a voiceover for the for the advert. Well, you can voice the incontinence pants adverts. Yes, it is one of the better, if not the best, of the Final Destination series, which just goes to show that even late on in a series, they can still pull it out of the bag.
Number 5 here, number 4 in Canada and Lower America, Karate Kid Legends.
And once again, how nice to be able to say that the film is entirely good-hearted and entirely genial, and particularly at the moment when things are not entirely like that around the world, there's something I find very entertaining and reassuring about watching a Karate Kid movie. And it just seems to, you go, yeah, I like these characters. I love the action sequences. I know it's all absolutely by numbers filmmaking, but I really enjoyed it. And as I said when I reviewed it, I arrived at the screening in an absolutely foul mood because my train had been delayed by 2.5 hours. And then I sat down and I watched the film and it transported me, which is what I wanted it to do.
The Salt Path, starring an incredibly ancient Jason. The Salt Path is at number 4.
And doing well. I mean, good for it.
Well,
it's. I mean, obviously down here, I'm in Cornwall. The screenings here have been packed out. There's my local cinema, the Newlyn Film House, said, it was outselling Barbie in terms of its pre-sales. So I think Jason and Gillian Anderson do really well. The story is incredibly life-affirming, and having now met the author Ray and Moth, who came down to the Q&A that Jason did, it sort of makes it all the more pertinent. I think very good performances and a very, very life-affirming story. It's easy to see why, again, particularly now, why that film is touching a nerve.
Number 3, from the world of John Wick, Ballerina.
Yes. Well, I like Ana de Armas. I like fighty stuff. I like Kinano, although he's only in it for a very, very brief period of time. The film does look like an absolute wreck, but apparently at least half of it, if not more so, has been reshot, although good, because at least the reshoots are decent. I mean, it's not up there with the certainly not with the most recent John Wick outings, but you get exactly what you pay for. It's that movie. It's Ana de Armas is what they were calling it, John Chick, I think. Ana de Armas does all the sort of fighty stuff. There is a very good set piece that involves a flamethrower and a hose. There's the plot is all over the shop, and the narrative of the film is completely daft. But it's a John Wick movie, and Death by Ice Skates. Although I've had a couple of people got in touch with me and said the Death by Ice Skates, that's not new. That's been done many times before.
Maria says, just went to see Ballerina, which was great fun thanks to a group of girls who sat next to me. They were living it. I suppose they could be loving it, but they were just living it. Unfortunately, it was also ruined by a group of guys that possibly sat down in the wrong seats. And when 2 other guys came in saying they had those seats, they refused to get up and said, shut up and sit down. This exchange made me miss the first 2 minutes of the film. Can you please remind everyone what the rules are in this case? I don't think we've established the rule. I mean, sit in your own seat, really, and don't be a dick. But anyway, what happened in the first 2 minutes? Do people die, outside of, by the time we get to minute 3, have we missed like 30 deaths?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the point with any of the John Wick series, you could go out for a comfort break, and half the cast could have being killed. It's just the way.
That's
the way
very
it's
true.
more annoying is the thing about if you've got an allocated seat and you turn up and somebody's in your allocated seat and you tell them to move and they tell you to get lost, and that's just very bad behaviour. But then in a way, that's what ushers are there for. Is to sort out those disagreements. I'm very impressed by the group of women who are living it, though. That's great.
They were good. Yes, sounds good. Darren Jones says, I completely disagree with the editing being a mess just because of extensive reshoots. It's nothing like the Captain America sequencing where it's painfully obvious that it's cobbled together. John Wick has never been high art, and the weak plot here is no better or worse than previous films.
I disagree with that.
There's a fragility to Ana de Armas's performance that gives you the impression she could be defeated numerous times, which is refreshing for these sorts of films. Yes, it's preposterously silly, particularly the third act, but it's classic Wick, and relying on the film's production to justify why you're not keen on it feels like the weakest of sources.
Sorry, relying on the film's production to justify why you're not keen on it? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand. I think Darren seems to be... I don't know whether... Did Darren like it or did he not like it?
I think Darren did like it, and Darren's complaining that I didn't like it because... Oh, I think Darren is complaining that I didn't like it because of the fact that that the film's production was troubled. Darren, with all due respect, I only found that out after I'd seen the film, and it made sense to me.
Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, is at number 2, number 3 in Canada.
So, first hour, second hour, fabulous submarine sequence, and he's in his pants. Third hour, he's hanging off the side of a plane. It's just
that's it. And then you say goodbye.
It is a 2-hour movie squeezed into 3 hours.
And number 1, Lilo and Stitch. Can I just say about this? Mm-hmm. And obviously, you can age someone by the children's TV shows and characters that they remember from when they were a kid, and then from when their kids were watching TV. I had literally zero idea how popular Lilo and Stitch were.
Oh, it's huge.
It's not just number 1. It is very number 1.
Yeah.
It has taken a vast amount of money, and I knew that it was popular, but I just never realized it was this popular.
Yeah, no, it's been a really big deal. I mean, ever since the animated feature came out, it's been a really big deal, and it's had loads and loads of different incarnations. Yeah, are you only discovering that now because you now have access to little ones who are?
No, we're not there. We're not at that.
We're not
stage
there yet. No,
yet.
okay,
no.
All right,
we're
no,
still
but
doing Teletubbies and things.
It's enormous. I mean, as Ben Bailey Smith was saying when we were talking about it, it's like the marketing gift that just keeps giving.